All right. Composite functions, we are going to look at combining two functions. In this case, we have f of x, g of x. We can combine those two functions to get one. Let's say fg of x or gf of x. Also, we're going to look at inverse. So if we have f of x, we can find the inverse of that function. And if we have g of x, we can find the inverse of that function as well. Also, we're just going to look at simple questions where x could take the place of any number. So we can find f of a number or g of a number. So let's jump right into it. So we have f of -2. So because we want to find means you're working out the question to get a specific value. Well, in this case, f of -2. Because we want to find f of -2, we have to use the f function. So we substitute in x. We substitute in x equals -2. So wherever you see x, you put in -2. So this is 4 by -2 is -8 plus 1, -7 divided by plus 3 2s are 6, 6 plus 6 is 12. So that's the answer for part 1. If you cannot simplify further, just leave it like that. Right? Leave it just like that. Part 2 more deals with, composing two functions into one. So the first thing I tell students to do is put the function closer, or put the function to the right, or the letter closer to the x, closest to the x in a bracket. We have f g of x, right? And then substitute what g of x equal to. In this case, is g of x. If it was the other way around, substitute whatever the function is equal to. So g of x is 2x plus 2. So we have f of 2x plus 2. Nice. And then what I tell them is write down the f function, but wherever you see x, you leave an empty bracket. You leave the bracket empty, right? So just put an empty bracket. So what I mean is you put f of x is 4x plus 1 divided by, so 4 empty brackets plus 1 divided by 6 minus 3 empty brackets, right? The empty bracket shows that, okay, whatever you have inside of this f function here is supposed to be substituted in here. So if you have 2x plus 2 in the empty brackets, you're supposed to have 2x plus 2. If you have 1,000,000 inside here, you're supposed to put 1,000,000 here, 1,000,000 here, right? So that is why for learning purposes, I tell them put an empty bracket first, and then the following line, you make the substitution. But once you get the hang of how to do it, you don't need to put this step here, right? So the next step, I'm going to write 4 open brackets, and we have 2x plus 2 plus 1 divided by 6 minus 3 open bracket, 2x plus 2 close bracket. So you have to simplify. So 4 by 2x is 8x plus 4 by 2 is 8. So we have 8x plus 8 plus 1 divided by 6. 6 minus 6x minus 6. All right, so continuing, the answer will be 8x plus 9 divided by -6x, because 6 minus 6 is 0. Let me write that x a little better than that. All right, so when you combine fg of x, you will get 8x plus 9 divided by -6x. Right, so you combine two functions and you get one function, which is this here. Next, so let's deal with f inverse x. Right, so this one will be a little bit challenging. Right, so let's deal with it first. So f of x is 4x plus 1 divided by 6 minus 3x. All right, so let me just make sure I have the right thing here. 4x plus 1 divided by 6 minus 3x. Let me make sure. See, I have minus. Nice. So that's the first thing I'll do. I'll write down what it is. Now, this question is long, so you'll have to stay with me. I'll start from across here. Right? So I'll let y equals f of x. So the reason why I let y equals f of x is to make the equation look easier to transpose. I don't want to transpose with f of x in here. And on your custom seeing, if you read books or you check online, you see y equals f of x, right? Y and f of x is like saying the same thing. But in this case, I'm just letting y equals f of x. So when we transpose, then it's easier to look at. But y, manipulating y or transposing y as opposed to f of x in a bracket, right? So y is equal to 4x plus 1 divided by 6 minus 3x, right? Now I'm going to interchange x and y. So that simply means wherever I see x, I put y. Wherever I see y, I put x. So interchange, let me write a note. Interchange x with y, right? As you know, that's what I did here. Now the next part is make y the subject. So to do that, I will say, okay, I'm going to make y the subject. Let me continue. So I say, okay, if I multiply both sides by 6 minus 3y, it will cancel out here. 6 minus 3y will cancel out here. And on this side, I will have 6 minus 3y by x, right? And that is equal to 4y plus 1. Nice, so I'm going on top here and continue. I'm going to expand this bracket here. So I'm going on top here. So I have 6x minus 3xy equals 4y plus 1. All right, 4y plus 1. And just to not make you get confused, let me put this across here. Y is equal to 4x plus 1, 6 minus 3x. Continuing. So I want to make y the subject, so I want y on one side and everything else on the next side. So I have negative 3xy minus 4y is equal to 1 minus 6x. So if you're unfamiliar with transposing, look at my transposition video and it will clear up a lot of the issues, right? Transposition video. Or subject of the formula. Some people say subject of the formula. It's the same thing. So I have here, I need to get y on one side. So I have negative 3xy minus 4y is equal to 1 minus 6x. Good, I'm going on the right path. I do a little factorization here. Right, so y is equal to 1 minus 6x all over negative 3x minus 4. So this is what y is equal to. So I'm like to find the answer. Y in this case is equal to f inverse x, right? So you just put it. F inverse x is equal to this is f inverse x here. And if you look below here, you have to find out what is f inverse 2/3. F inverse 2 over 3 is equal to 1 minus 6 open bracket 2 over 3 divided by negative 3 open bracket 2 over 3 minus 4. So if I simplify that, 1 minus 3 into 6 is 2, 2 2s are 4, divided by -2 minus 4. I'll end up with -3 divided by -6, which is a half. That is f inverse 2/3, right? Now, please note this. If the question asks you to find out f inverse of 2/3 and they didn't ask you to find out f inverse of x, you have to find out f inverse of x first before you find out f inverse of 2/3. You have to. There's no other way. You must find out f inverse of x first. All right. So let's go back up. We have a lot to do, but we deal with everything one time. So let's deal with these questions coming down here a little easier. Let's deal with g of -6. So g of -6 is equal to, we're focusing on this function here. Wherever you see x, you put -6. 2 open bracket -6 plus 2. -12 plus 2 is -10. That's the answer right there, right? This one now, gf of 10. Now, we are following the same steps like what we did here, right? So I'm going to pattern this and do this question, gf of 10. So the first thing I'll do is put f of 10 in brackets. So we have gf of 10 in brackets. That's the first thing that we did here. We put g of x in brackets. Secondly, we will work out what f of 10 is. So we'll substitute what 10 is in the f function. So we have 4 by 10 plus 1. All right, let me fix this bracket here a little bit. And this is equal to g of 41 divided by -24. All right, so when you work out what's in the bracket here, you get 41 over -24. All right, you could have written it as g of -41 over 24, dividing two different signs is a negative, and you put 41 over 24. It doesn't matter. All right, so let me just erase this. Continuing. Now you focusing on the g function now, and wherever you see x, you put an empty bracket. All right, just like what we did here. Patterning this, what's going on across here. Wherever you see x, you put an empty bracket. So we have 2x plus 1. So I'm going to put 2 empty bracket. 2x plus 2. So I'm going to put 2 empty bracket plus 2. All right. And the next line, right, whatever is in this bracket here, 41 over -24, that is what we put in the empty bracket. I'm not writing it here for just learning purposes. You can leave the empty bracket as is, but once you get a hang of it, do not put this line. Move from this line straight to this line. All right, so 2, and we put in 41 over -24, or -41 over 24. It doesn't matter. All right, and we will get 2 times 41 is 82 divided by -24 plus 2. And that answer will be -17 divided by 12. That's the answer for gf of 10. Gf of 10 is equal to -17 divided by 12. All right, last question. G inverse 6. In order for us to find out what is G inverse of 6, we need to find out what is G inverse of x. You must find out what is G inverse of x first before you find out G inverse of 6. And we're following the same pattern here. Let y equals f of x, in this case, y equals g of x. Interchange x and y, make y the subject of the formula. Whatever you get for y, that will be, in this case, it was f inverse. And in this new case, it will be G inverse. So let's deal with that one time. So let y equals G of X. All right. Now remember, G of X is equal to 2x plus 2. All right. So then we have y is equal to 2x plus 2. All right. We're going to interchange x with y. So wherever you see x, you put y. Wherever you see y, you put x. Now we're going to make y the subject. All right. So we have x minus 2 equals 2y. So if we get rid of this 2, we subtract 2 on both sides. You have x minus 2. Now, if we divide both sides by 2, we have y is equal to x minus 2 divided by 2. All right. And once you make y the subject of the formula, that is G inverse of x. G inverse of x is x minus 2 divided by 2. Close bracket there. So if you need to find out what is G inverse of 6, right? Therefore, G inverse of 6 is equal to 6 minus 2 over 2. And that is 4 over 2, which is equal to 2. So G inverse of 6 is equal to 2. Remember, you cannot find G inverse of 6 just like that. You need to find out what is G inverse of x. All right, let me just fix this across here. It's supposed to be f of x. Nice. So that's it for composite functions.